Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing fine. Well, today we're going to have some fun. We're going to look at this amazing and very complex chess study. Doesn't look much, it's just a few pieces, but it's really, really long variations. And as I write in the thumbnail, there's a lot of piece sacrifices, stalemate traps, under promotions. Oh my god. So it's a long video, I know, but I promise you it's really worth it to stay to the end. Okay, so the first option here, white is winning. I should say that, but we need to find at least the first move. So you should post the video now and see if you can find out the start of this study. How does white start this? All right, welcome back. Well, we cannot really run with the pawns, something like that. We will just lose one, or run here, we will just lose it. So it doesn't give us anything, and we need to take care of this knight because it's threatening to be taken. So knight c1 is the pretty obvious first move, but it's now that it's getting really interesting. Of course, you see that we are threatening this fork to win the rook. So black has to, well, he has to move the king or the rook anyway, obviously. Let's look at the king first. King b1, it really doesn't give anything to this position. We put our knight on d3, follow up with king d2, and really looking things are looking good. He cannot take her, obviously, because of c7, and he cannot stop the promotion next move. So that doesn't give black anything. Okay, so let's go back here then. King b2 loses right away to this fork. Let's forget about that. And then we see he cannot move the king at all. Okay, so black's rook here has to move. And there are two main lines in this study. Either take on b5 or to take a tempo move, a d5 check. Just get away from this fork and think about things while you're taking a tempo move like this. So we're going to look at both of them, but let's first just check these other iffy moves along this diagonal. Well, there's no point of taking here, of course, and this doesn't look for much, but actually it is because we cannot take it. It's stalemate. So it's getting away from the fork threat, and he's still covering the c file. Looks crazy, but it's pretty good. Uh, could happen. Some people could take it and get a draw right away. But we play knight d3 here also, cover these important squares, and we will then follow up. Let's say moves. He cannot move here, of course, because of the fork. Let's see, go king b1. Then knight b4 would be good anyway. Maybe knight c4 to put pressure here. Then we can go with b6, and these two pawns will actually take care of themselves. You cannot stop both like this. One of them will queen, and it will be a win. So many lines here. Okay, let's look at rook c3 then. We can attack it with our king, but then it will come down with a check, and we either have to go back because we cannot take it, obviously, again for the stalemate, or we have to go up and sacrifice our knight. This will be winning still for white, but it's a lot easier to just play knight e2 here and get the tempo move, force him back, or if he gives a check, then we get our king closer, goes up here. Let's look at that. We move our king. Black hasn't achieved anything. White has got his king up, and his knight is in better position, so really not much more to look at. And king rook c4 is not good either. Then we put the knight directly, cover these both squares. We will bring up our king, and then we will just get our pawns going. So I think I covered all other options than the two main lines here, I would say. Okay, now let's look at rook takes b5. Now again, you can pause the video if you want to. It's a fairly natural next move, so maybe you don't have to. But do if you want to. Otherwise, here it comes. c7. Now we want to promote. We sacrifice the pawn here. We want to promote. Obviously, black cannot go back to c5 with his rook because of this fork. It's very efficient, this fork threat. He can try other things. Rook d5 is the main line. I'm going to look at that soon. There's no point in moving b1 or anything. We will just promote, and this is a win. But he can try this. Rook b8. And this is so beautiful, because if we take here and promote to a queen or to a rook, it's actually a stalemate. So we cannot. The white has two options here, and both are equally good. Either you take and you underpromote to a bishop, and you get this winning with bishop and knight, or you give a check on b3 first. You just get a tempo move. If black moves his king, well, then you can take here with promotion, and it's very good. Or you will allow a take, and you play queen versus rook. Both are winning for white, queen versus rook, or bishop and knight just against the king. Both are winning. It's just a matter of choice which one you prefer. All right. These were the sidelines here, and it's going to be a lot of sidelines in this video. Believe me. Okay. After c7. Now the main line. Rook d5. Now you should pause the video and think about how are you winning this as white from here. Go ahead. All right, welcome back. So we already looked at a couple of under promotions, pawns, piece sacrifices, and so on, stalemate traps, and here comes more. We will sacrifice our knight here. This is beautiful sacrifice. It protects the c5 square. Black has no other option than to take this, because he cannot go down here. It will be taken. And he cannot go here. So he has to take. And naturally, white plays king c2. And now it looks good. He cannot go here because it will be taken, and he cannot give a check anywhere without losing his rook. And there's no stalemate in that. But we're not done. Not by far. Black plays rook d4. And this is known as the Saavedra position. It's very, very common and very high thought of theme amongst chess study composers, puzzle composers. Now, the point is, if white promotes to queen now, black has this diabolic move, rook c4. He sacrifices his rook to get a checkmate, to get a stalemate and a draw, and it's so nice. So rook d4, and we cannot really chase it because he will just go down to d1, and then threaten to go to c1 to check, and from behind take this promotion. And if you go back, well, it's going to be a repetition like this. If white goes to maybe c3, well, black can start checking. Again, if we go here, it's just a repetition. And if we go to c4, black will take his pawn, his rook down to d1. Threaten this. And it will come the next move. So it will continue like this. And this is the all part of this Saavedra position. And we try to hide here. Well, then we pin the pawn, and we will sacrifice the rook next move. So from here, white has to do something else. and that is underpromote to a rook. Classic theme. All right, so it's rook versus rook. Sounds like a draw, doesn't it? Well, white is threatening the checkmate. Look at this. And I mean, moving the king up here doesn't help. It's only one move to guard this, and that's rook a4. And what happens then? White to move. How do we win this? Well, let's move our king to b3. We threaten this rook, and we threaten this checkmate. And it's nothing black can do now from here. He has to sacrifice his rook. He has to save a few more moves before it's done. So that was winning. That makes all of this. Let's start from the beginning. All of these lines, I think we covered these ones. So now let's go over to the next one because we're not done. We're only halfway there, something like that. Rook d5, white to move. Again, pause your video now, have a look at this. How do white continue from here? Maybe you should get a cup of coffee or something because this is a long video and there's a lot of lines, but I love it. All right, pause the video now and come back and we'll go through the rest. Bye. All right, here we go then. So, what are we doing as white here? Just look at some wrong moves. Like if you're moving to E1 or E2, black will just take here. We move on, give a check, and then go down to E8, and he will cover this pawn, and it's a draw. All right. So we cannot move the king to the E, and we cannot sacrifice. At this, we did it last time, but we cannot do it now. Because even though we have two pawns instead of one, because black can just go back. And the difference was, then we had a pawn on c7, now it's only on c6. Now he will take here, or if we can move this pawn, he will give a check and take it. And will really not be able to get a draw here. To win as white, we can get a draw still, like doing this, but it's just getting a draw, nothing more. All right, so the only move to win for white is king c2, and now black cannot take here because we will give a check first, move, and then play c7, and he cannot stop this promotion. But black doesn't take the pawn, he gives another check on c5. And again, I think you should pause the video and see how white continues from here. Go ahead. All right, here we go. So, long lines still to cover. There's no point in going back, of course, because there will be repetition. So what about king d2? Still protects this knight, and we have some options with this knight. All right, so black will now take on b5, and we think maybe this is winning, but it's not. Yes, black cannot go back here because of this fork, but black has some other moves, like king, rook b2 check. And when we move our king somewhere, we will play rook c2. Just sacrifice the rook. We will take the pawn next time. If we take here, it's a stalemate. Another stalemate trap by black. Genius. So that stops king d2. So only two moves left. Okay, king b3 is pretty easy. It's a very easy draw for black. Just take here with a check. And, well, easiest is just to, yeah, you can play rook b6 and we'll take it next time. Even sacrifice on it. Or if he moves, you just give a check and take it. So black will Also, this is not winning, by the way. This is not winning for white either. So he can do either move. But after white playing king d3, which is the right move, now black cannot take here. Because this king will come to d4. And now cover this space here. Threaten to first go to d5 and then just run with your b pawn. So that is winning for white, meaning black cannot take this knight. Instead, he tries this. Rook takes b5. And now we're getting closer to the end. How does white win from here? Well, you see it. It's c7. Again, he cannot go back to b5, c5 because of this fork. It's been there all along. We also cover b3, so black cannot give a check here. We will take with a check. And the check on d5 doesn't give black much at all because we will just go up with our king to e4, attack this. Again, of course, cannot move back because of the fork. So it will be a promotion next move. But still, black has another final attempt here to save this. He will play rook b8. Another stalemate trap. Wouldn't you believe it? If we take here with the queen, it's a stalemate. If we take it with the rook, it's a stalemate. So here, final move, we need to take it with a bishop. And after going through all of this long study and really fighting things off, we end up with a knight and a bishop against the king. Which means we've got another 30-40 moves to move before we win this. But I'm not going to cover how we win with a knight and a bishop in this video. I'll do another video about it for sure later on, but not now. Now we are all exhausted. We looked at this. White was winning. I hope you enjoy this. Thank you for watching all this time. See you later. Bye bye.